Hi everyone, it's Caroline from Crescent Fell, and today I thought we'd try something new on the channel, something we haven't done before. Actually, I'm in the process of recording a Faceup process video, but I have a few things that still need to come in for that, and so that video is still kind of a work in progress, and I thought in the meantime, why not do a tier ranking that involves every single BJD I have ever owned. Now, quick disclaimer for this video, of course all my views that I express herein are my own. This is of course, due to the nature of this kind of video format, this is entirely subjective and very biased and solely based on my own perspective with these dolls. That being said, this is not in any way meant to be a best to worst BJD ranking. I wouldn't even care to do one of those videos because I think it's just nonsense. What I'm doing here is I'm assigning the experience I've had with each individual doll to self-made-up categories to these tiers in order to gain a new perspective on my collection, on my past collecting habits, and maybe even gain some sort of insight into where I could be going in the future. That's literally all there is to it. And as such, my experience does not rank the quality, the aesthetics, the company, or even the posing of the dolls that I own. And yeah, but I'll explain each individual placement as we go through the dolls anyway, and probably go off on a few tangents as we deep dive into my collection. So I've gone ahead and put all my BJDs down here in chronological order, and that's also how we'll be going through them. So we're going to be starting with the very first BJD I ever purchased, and we're going to end with the very last BJD I purchased most recently. So my S tier is called We Are Soulmates. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. This is the head over heels, in love with the doll, will never sell, we were made for each other, just as good as it gets. My A tier is We Love Them, but so this is just like near perfection level. There are a few gripes I have with the doll, but in general it's just a lot of love for it. The B tier is It Must Have Been Love, but it's over now. This just means that these are dolls I really had a strong attachment to, and I think I still do deep down, but for some reason I had to let them go. We'll see which dolls fall into this category. I think this one's probably going to be the most interesting one, and the one where I get the most insight about what I'm actually like as a collector. C tier might be a bit confusing because it sounds almost like B tier, but C tier is called We Grew Apart. So that means that, like B tier, we started off with a strong connection. I loved the doll but in the beginning, but unlike B tier, that love did not last and I let it go. So, same beginnings but different endings. And last but not least, D tier is simply we weren't made for each other. These dolls just didn't work for me from the start. There was no spark, there was no connection, and yeah, never really made it into my collection as a fully realized doll. So you might be seeing a few floating heads float down into this tier. Right, so with all that clarified and out of the way, I think we can get started. I'm very excited for this. Are you excited? I'm excited. I've never done one of these before. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Starting off the list is my Dollzone Tulip that I ordered all the way back in February 2013, so 10 years ago. And this one is kind of a doozy because I ordered a Dollzone Tulip and it came with the Meggie A head, and I did not connect to the tulip at all, but I connected to the Meggie A head. So the Dollzone Tulip went into a box and didn't come out until the very end of its time with me, where I gave it a face-up and then decided to sell it as part of the complete doll again. So Dollzone Tulip, the head, which would have been part of the doll, is going into... It wasn't meant to be. I spent a long time deciding on my first BJD, but when it arrived, I was quite disappointed with the flatness of the tulip face. I didn't like her features as much as I thought I would. Very unfortunate for the first doll that I've ever owned, but that's the way it is. It be that way sometimes. Then, of course, my very first doll character, BJD character, was Heather, and she was a Dollzone Meggie A head on the body of Tulip. I think it was the 62cm girl body. At the end, we just kind of grew apart. I loved her very much in the beginning, and I did take a lot of pictures of her, we just weren't really meant for each other, and I let her go. Next one is my House Arvid, who was Robert, I think was his name, and he arrived actually before the tulip, so imagine never having owned a BJD before and your first doll is an House EID male doll. Just saying it like that because, you know, they're hunks, and it's fine if you like that kind of thing, but I think I was a little hit over the head with this doll. But like Heather, we grew apart because I just couldn't handle the hunkiness. The hunkiness was not for me. This next one was kind of sad because it was actually the first doll I ended up selling in my collection. House Karina, whom I named Lune. She was actually Lune version... why am I holding number 2? Lune version 1. Number 2 you'll see in a bit. Already I'm struggling with this. I think I'm going to put her in We Grew Apart. I'm going to give her a little more grace. Because I did really like her in the beginning, and it wasn't like there was no spark. I mean, there was some spark there. I just think that she couldn't be what I wanted her to be. So, yeah. I'm putting her in We Grew Apart. Alright, Andromeda! The doll that changed my entire collecting trajectory from the minute I got her. We are soulmates. We are just soulmates. Andromeda is my go-to gal. I love her. She's gone through many different changes. She has like 3 different looks right now. She's my ever-transforming, ever-changing muse. I just love this doll, even though I do not like the People 65's sitting capabilities. Still, it's a very, very good poser, and yeah, this is the first doll where I felt such a strong connection that I was like, oh, where have I been this whole time? Where has Fairyland been this whole time for me? Yeah. We are soulmates, Andromeda and I. And Marion is also going to go into We Are Soulmates because she's my moody gal and I love her so, so, so much. Marion just, also, she came together so beautifully over time, and the way she is now, I would never sell her because she's super special. And the thing with Fairyland event heads is really, once they've reached a certain age, they become very, very rare. It depends, of course, but with this head, I think I've seen this head pop up on the marketplace possibly maybe 3 times, 4 at most. And I've been in this hobby for 10 years, so that's saying something. Of course, nowadays, I think if you put out a want to buy thread and a post on Instagram, in general, the market on social media is just so much bigger now than it was back then. I think you'd be able to reach more people and find this doll fairly quickly, because she's not really one of those, I mean, the sculpt now, the head sculpt is not really one of those sought after, rare event heads. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my impression at least. Moving on, next, this one's kind of weird. For some reason, on layaway, I bought a Dollzone Eudora, and it was this little creature, and I don't know what was going through my head, and I had these grand plans, but no way was that ever going to come to realization because we were just not meant for each other. It was fun having it for a while, this little creature doll, and I think this is the reason I don't own like anthro dolls or any kind of other BJD animals or pets or creature dolls. I don't know what it is, I just don't click with them. So yeah, Dollzone Eudora. It was fun while it lasted, but it was never really a serious part of my collection. I literally forget all the time that I once owned a Dollzone Eudora. Next is Pocket, and yeah, We Are Soulmates. Don't expect to see all the Fairyland dolls in this tier, by the way. I think there are a few that will go in other tiers, but Fairyland just had such a big impact on my collection, that's why Pocket is also going into We Are Soulmates. Pocket was also the first minifee I ever put together, and she is a rare event head sculpt, the minifee Sion. Yeah, no, Pocket is just too special to me. She's just, yeah, she's just that gal. Next is my second People 60 doll. I did own 2 at one point. This is Lune Mark II. Now I can hold up the 2, now it actually is relevant. Yeah, Lune was a People 60 Nanuri 2008. It was the oldest piece of resin I've ever owned, and it must have been love, but it's over now, is where she's going. Why did I sell this doll? I mean, sure, selling the People 60 A-line body was a no-brainer. I could have just done that and be happy, but no, I sold it as a complete doll. Why did I do that? When I got her, she had an angel toast face up. It was gorgeous. And then I removed that face up to give her my own because I'm a face up artist. And that's all well and good, but she had something, man. She had something special. I loved her to bits. Yeah, so when I was uploading pictures onto my Instagram page some time ago of all the dolls that used to be in my collection, I was just reminded of how special this girl was, and that I should have just hung on to the head. I should have just put the head in a box and forgotten about it and discovered it now and be really happy that I still have the head. But alas, it is gone. Maybe at some point I will still get that head back. I do remember I was frustrated that the eyes were so big and that very little eyes actually worked for her, but I had eyes that did, so what's my deal? I don't know. Yeah, this one is a bit of a regret for me. But life goes on, and next we have the Minifee Nanuri. No, wait, sorry, Minifee New Family, not Nanuri. I mean, it's either Nanuri or Juri, right? But this one's the New Family, or Sarang, actually, sorry. This one's the Minifee New Family head from 2014, and I can't remember how I came by this doll, but it wasn't meant to be. It was just a head, it never really got on a body. I don't think I put it on a body once. I just gave it a face up and I put it straight for sale on Den of Angels, and someone very friendly came by and bought her, which is good because she wasn't for me. Next is my Minifee Kosh. This is gonna be tricky. I loved this doll, and I don't know why I let her go. I think I was just downsizing. I was on my way into a doll buying hiatus, and in general a hiatus from my collection, and I was getting rid of a few dolls just to size it down and recuperate some funds. I think I was just done with her. I think that those were my sentiments back then. So I guess she would have to go into We Grew Apart, but then again, like, there was nothing really wrong with her. It wasn't her, it was me. I was the problem. It's me. I guess the question I have to ask myself with this doll is, would I get her again if given the chance? Because if given the chance to get back Lune Mark II, the Nanuri 08 head, I would totally jump on that for a good price. But the Minifee Kosh, would I get her again? I guess I would. I guess I would get her again. If fate puts her into my hands again, I would be happy. Her or him, by the way. I mean, Minifee Kosh, you can... I think it was actually made as a boy sculpt. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Minifees, they're universal. You can use them for any gender. It must have been love, but it's over now. Yeah, that feels more appropriate. Next is my Feeple65 Roke, who I waited 9 months for, and he was my Grail doll for so long, and then when he came to me, I just couldn't make him work. I just couldn't get it to work between us. He had a custom wig and a custom outfit at some point. Face-ups as well. I did his face-up like 4 times, I think. And yeah, I got his ears modded too, actually. That's also another thing I got done for him. I invested a lot into this doll, and I think in the end, we just grew apart. Tastes change, and sometimes a Grail doll is not a Grail doll forever. There's an interesting dynamic that's unfolding here. We haven't had anything in the B tier yet. It's like I have this dual personality. I either love my dolls to bits and I keep them forever, or I don't love them enough to keep them at all. It's like, geez, look at this. This is the dichotomy we're working with. This is the tragic tale that is unfolding before our very eyes. And it's kind of fun to see. Here we have another doll that I'm gonna have to put in It Must Have Been Love, but It's Over Now. I kid you not though, if you'd have asked me 6 months ago, before Physalis arrived, I would have said this doll, yeah, she was cute, but you know, in the end, we grew apart. Or I maybe would have put her in Loved Her, but, you know, and then the but outweighs the love. The but outweighed the love, that sounds so weird. But now I'm actually at the point where I'm saying, oh gosh, it must have been love, but it's over now, and I should have held on to Fione, my soul doll Devonia, in purple skin because I love purple skin dolls, and Physalis rekindled that love. Okay, next up is Pouch, and I love her to bits. I think we are soulmates, just because it's a Minifee Sian and it's the same as Pocket, so it's kind of a cop-out, but yeah, it would have been weird if I put her in any other category other than we are soulmates, so that's where she's gonna go. End of that story. Next is this. Okay, this is interesting. This is Rule, my old Dolce Saint. I love them, but they weren't right for the character, and the body wasn't really working for me in the end. No, this doesn't feel right. I'm sorry. I can't put a doll in such a high category that I don't own anymore. My Saint's gonna have to go into We Grew Apart. It just doesn't work any other way. At least in my mind. I mean, you guys, if you want to do this tier ranking too, be my guest. And you can do this differently, but for me, it doesn't work any other way. He has to go into We Grew Apart. But yeah, he was a great doll. I really enjoyed him quite a lot. And he photographed very nicely. Next up, we're heading towards the finish line, I think, because the next two heads I'm gonna just immediately put into It Wasn't Meant to Be. Yeah, the Feeble 16 Nori 2014 elf head, not as popular as its minifee counterpart. It's a gorgeous sculpt, but for some reason it just didn't work. Also, getting a Feeble 16 male doll, a male body actually, a Feeble 16 male body for this head would have taken me years, and I think that kind of dampened my excitement for this head and decided to sell it at some point. The Natrume Modol Benedict Cumberbatch mini-me head, it was fun, it was a cool idea. I just noticed that I couldn't click with a BJD that was modelled after an actor. It just didn't work for me, for what I wanted to achieve with this character. So I painted it and I had fun with it and then I let it go. Next is my soul doll Azrael that I had for a while and we grew apart. He was not one of those dolls where I was like, no, this is not really working from the get-go, but then again, I never even gave him a face-up. Funnily enough, my latest doll is the reshelling of the same character, but in a different doll form. And that guy works, even though he also does not have any clothes yet, and he doesn't have a face-up from me yet either. It's like the same kind of situation, but I can already feel way more attached to the more current shell of the character than I ever did with the soul doll Azrael. So that's why the soul doll. Now I'm really losing it. Right, next up is Angus Brent, who is my Dolce Aramis. I almost said something else. Almost said Arsene, but that's the other guy. My Dolce Aramis, and yay, we finally have a B-tier doll. I love the Dolce Aramis, but he can be a bit of a pain in the butt. Fun fact, I ordered Dolce Aramis just before the order situation with Dolce got a little bit out of hand and people started having to wait 2 years for a doll, which is honestly ridiculous. If you want more information, there's a whole Den of Angels thread. I got quite lucky because some time after I ordered, I started seeing people complain about drops in quality in their dolls, and I had no such complaints, so just that I've been following what they've been doing and it's not great. It's really not great. Yeah, but my Aramis, I love him, but the reason I'm putting him in B tier, not in A tier, is just that sometimes he's a bit cumbersome. I wish he was a little easier to handle sometimes. Yeah, that's why he's going in. Love them. But next is my Apple House Arza, who is called Faye, and she's also going into the B tier. Love her, but she poses like a sack of potatoes. I know I said in the beginning that posing doesn't really weigh in so hard, and it really doesn't, because actually this doll handles beautifully. You can pick her up and she feels great. She's this very solid resin. You know, Apple House is just chunky, it feels great. You can put her down, she stays seated where you put her. She doesn't complain, you know, there's no kickback or anything like that. Yeah, still doesn't have any shoes because Apple House feet are just so big. She's not perfect, and she doesn't pose well for shootings. That's why I can't say we are soulmates, but I really do love her very much. Right, Supia doll. Yeah. I love her, but she's not a full doll yet. So, we'll see where it goes. There's not really much I have to add to that. I mean, she's just a head on a bust, and she doesn't have a face-up of mine yet. I have taken a few pictures with her, though, and that was fun, and she looks great. Maybe I'll even just keep this face up because honestly it's really, really well done and it's a different style from my own. But I'm excited to see what else I can do with her if I decide to get a body for her, because honestly right now I'm on the fence, I'm not too sure. So I love her, but we'll see. And next is Faceup. I really have to take some updated pictures of her current face-up because she has one now, but Faceup is going into We Are Soulmates because she is my baby and we were meant to be, and she is the best thing that has happened to me in this hobby in a while. She is so, so great. I love her in every way. She's great to photograph, she's great to handle. Her posing, honestly, is not the best, but I don't care because she's just so cute. She makes me so happy. Can you tell how biased this tier ranking is now? Very, very of the current time and of my current emotional attachment to the dolls, to these dolls. But that's fine. That's what we're here for. And last but certainly not least, we have my newest addition to my doll family, who is my hybrid doll, my very first hybrid doll. I kind of blanked out on the doll company names, but they're coming back. It's the Dolce Arsene head on the Dollstan 18-year-old boy body. How come that took me so long to say? Yeah, but this is the first true hybrid using 2 different doll companies. And yeah, he is going into We Are Soulmates because when I put him together last year with the body, oof, that just felt so good to finally be able to do that. And even though the body is chunky and is not as easy to pose, even though it's a very good poser, if you want to see more of that, see my last video, one of my last videos. The difference for me personally to the Dolce Mystic body of my Aramis is that the Dollstown body is just so much more satisfying to me to handle. And that's why the Dollstown Dolce Hybrid is going into S tier, We Are Soulmates. Although it's less about the body than the overall doll, and I'm in love with this character, have been for a long time, and I finally have him in doll form, and it just makes me excited to start creating. That's why We Are Soulmates. And that is it. This is the current ranking that we have. Time will of course tell if these placements stay the same. I can see some of them shifting over time, and I'm very clever, you know, I did this about a month before getting a new doll, so technically I have to do this all over again, but I think I'll just do an updated one within another video that I'll do on the incoming doll in the future. But yeah, this is the state of grace. This is what we have right now. I've been filming so long that I've had to close the blinds because the sun went down, so I hope the lighting wasn't too egregious in this video, but yeah. Let me know what you thought. I hope you had fun watching this and following along with me. I hope this was somewhat interesting because I know collection review videos, they can be a bit of a hit and miss, hiss and mitt. It's about high time I finished this video. Because, you know, you're very far removed from someone's personal experiences with their own dolls, but I still hope that it was somewhat entertaining and interesting. I'd be very interested in anyone who wants to do this tier ranking as well, so if you do, please post a link to your video down below and I'll be sure to check it out. I'm very interested in seeing how this plays out with anyone who has like a big collection of BJDs, because my collection is very moderate, I don't have that many, but over the years I've really amassed quite a few different dolls, and it's interesting seeing them all, you know, be pitted against each other in a way. If you can call it that. Yeah, so I'm going to stop rambling and go have some dinner, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Have a wonderful weekend or weekday whenever you're watching this. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!